Hi guys, welcome to Daily Wisdom Dive Day 8, where today we're taking a dive into Proverbs chapter 8. The topic for this wisdom dive is boldly speak your truth. Now, we're taking a look into Lady Wisdom in chapter 8, and I love that chapter 8 is such a direct contrast to chapter 7, where we talked about the immoral woman. So, to give you a little bit of a background or just a brief comparison between chapter 7 and chapter 8 here, between the immoral woman and Lady Wisdom, we know the immoral woman, like we discussed. She speaks false words. Her activities are reserved for the night. She does her business at night where, she's basically hidden, right? Compare that to Lady Wisdom, who always speaks truth, operates boldly in the open. She has nothing to hide. And she operates in the open for everyone to see. She's everywhere and she's accessible to everyone. So with that brief comparison, let's go ahead and let's dive right into Proverbs chapter 8. Taking a look into verse 5, wisdom constantly appeals to the simple. As we discussed in earlier chapters, I think maybe chapter 1 or something, when we speak of the simple and being open-minded here, we're talking about the fact that they're gullible. That's somebody who's naive, they lack experience and they lack wisdom. So I love that here, wisdom is constantly appealing to the simple ones. The simple ones are not a lost cause like they were presented in Proverbs chapter 7, where Solomon talked about him witnessing a simple, young, unwise man going into the immoral woman here. So they're not lost cause. Wisdom is constantly appealing to the simple person. Now, jumping into verses 7 and 8, when you compare that to the words that come out of the immoral woman's mouth, wisdom always speaks truth. She always speaks what's right. She always speaks what's direct and straight, meaning there are no mysteries in what she says. If we think about what the immoral woman would speak or how she approached her, I don't even know what you want to say, how you want to call them, her objects of pleasure, so to speak, she would speak falsely. The things that she would tell them were very perverse, indirect, right? There was always some mystery as to what she could really give them. Here, Lady Wisdom doesn't play that, okay? She's straight up, she's direct. What she speaks is what you get. There's no mystery in it. It's clear for all to understand. Now that we've discussed Lady Wisdom a little bit, let's go ahead and really talk about who she really is, like her characteristics and her benefits. So verses 10 through 11 says, "Receive my instruction and not silver, knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it." And I think here one of the characteristics of Lady Wisdom is that she has a very high value. Her value is much higher than that of any wealth you can acquire, right? Because she says here, value her or seek her more than you seek riches or gold or silver. So her value far surpasses that of gold or silver. The second characteristics or benefit we can pull from the verse 12 is self-control, good judgment, discretion. When you have her, these are the things that you're gonna expect. You're gonna be able to demonstrate self-control. You're gonna have discretion in making decisions and have good judgment. Characteristic number 3, we can pull from verse 13. She hates evil. She hates pride. She hates arrogance and a perverse mouth. Characteristic number 4, I would say, or benefit, is that she's reliable. She has lasting power. And we can pull that from verses 14 through 16, where it says, "Counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding, I have strength. By me kings reign and princes decree justice. By me princes rule and nobles, even all the judges of the earth." The next characteristic is that she's loving. She rewards those who seek her out. That means she comes with lots of love and blessings. And we can find that in verses 17 through 19. "I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are with me, yea, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver." The next characteristic or benefit is that she brings wealth or riches. And we can pull that from verses 20 to 21. Here we can say that seeking wealth usually comes with corruption. Usually somebody who's always seeking out wealth could end up doing corrupt things. But when we search out wisdom, wisdom comes with wealth. And we see Solomon being a classic example of that, like we talked about in earlier chapters, where he asked God for wisdom. And not only did God bless him with wisdom, but God blessed him abundantly with riches and wealth. Another characteristic or benefit is that wisdom is everlasting and eternal. And we can find that in verses 22 through 31. Now, I believe it was in Proverbs chapter 3 where I talked about the fact that we have direct access to the same level of wisdom that created the universe in the first place. We said the fear of God is the beginning of all wisdom. And we know that when we said fear, it was awe and reverence of God. And we know that wisdom starts with him. And again, here, wisdom is reminding us in verses 22 to 31 that, hey, I was with God from the beginning. Like he possessed me. He used me from the beginning to create the universe. And I said, creation is such a great and true revelation of the depth of God's wisdom. And so if we accept wisdom, then we're also becoming one with creation. To reject creation is really to reject God's wisdom. So wrapping up the chapter in verses 31 through 33 here, Lady Wisdom, she's calling out for attention now, right? And she's calling for an audience. She's asking us to hear her call, listen to her words, and then keep her commandments or keep her instructions. And so here, like the chapter started, she's making a loud call and cry for attention, for people to accept her and for people to see the importance of what she has to offer. And I think it plays nicely into the end of the chapter here from verses 34 through 36. I'll read here. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whosoever findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. So compared to the end of chapter 7, here Lady Wisdom is calling out for her audience. Even though she's out in the open, she's accessible to everyone, and she's everywhere, we have to seek her out. Compared to chapter 7, where the immoral woman went out and sought out her objects of pleasure, right? She was outside of her house, standing around the corner, just waiting and lurking for somebody to come by to have an encounter with them. And so here, the young man's encounter with the immoral woman in chapter 7, it was completely accidental. He didn't go out searching for her intentionally. However, in chapter 8, Lady Wisdom is telling us, hey, I'm out in the open. You can clearly see me, but I'm not going to come looking for you. Your encounter with me has to be intentional. It won't be accidental. And so to completely wrap it up, we can say the one who finds wisdom finds life and love, right? They are intentionally seeking it out. And by seeking it out, they also benefit from all the rewards that come with it. But the one who rejects it, like the unwise young man in Proverbs chapter 7, he wrongs his own soul and he loves death. And the death that we're talking about here is not necessarily a physical one, although it may be. It's also a spiritual death that comes by consequence of destruction. So just like chapter 7 ended and told us that the person who goes down the path to the house of the immoral woman, her house leads to death. Here, the path to wisdom leads to life and love. So that's it for our Daily Wisdom Dive and taking a look at Proverbs chapter 8. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what are some of the key points that stood out to you in this chapter. Thank you guys so much for watching, and join me back tomorrow where we take a dive into Proverbs chapter 9.